Imagine that one day, years from now, you look back at your life. You have everything you ever wanted: success, respect, and opportunities. But then you realize something painful. You never became the person you were capable of becoming. The greatest tragedy in life isn't failure. It's potential left unexplored. Today isn't about becoming better than someone else. It's about becoming better than the person you were yesterday. Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something we all want but very few truly understand: becoming the best version of ourselves. Many people spend their lives chasing success, money, or recognition. They believe that once they achieve those things, happiness will follow. But success is not the destination. It's the result of becoming someone worthy of it. The real question isn't, what do I want to achieve? The real question is, who do I need to become? As I leave you with one final thought, remember this. Life isn't asking whether you're talented enough. Life is asking whether you're willing to grow. Whether you're willing to choose courage over comfort, purpose over excuses, progress over perfection. One day, someone will ask who you became. Make sure your answer isn't defined by your fears. Make sure it's defined by your choices. So starting today, don't compete with the person beside you. Compete with the person you were yesterday. Because the greatest achievement in life is not becoming famous. It's becoming the very best version of yourself. Have you ever noticed that two people can do the exact same job, face the exact same challenges, and yet respond completely differently? One gives up at the first sign of difficulty, while the other keeps going with determination. The difference is rarely talent. It is rarely intelligence. More often than not, the difference is purpose. Purpose is the invisible force that drives visible success. Most people spend their lives asking, what should I do? They search for the perfect career, the perfect business, or the perfect opportunity. But there is a better question to ask first. Why do I want to do it? Because when your why is clear, your actions become meaningful. When your purpose is strong, your determination becomes stronger than your excuses. Think about a builder laying bricks. If you ask the first builder what he is doing, he might say, I'm laying bricks. Ask the second builder the same question, and he says, I'm building a school where children will learn for generations. Both are doing the same work. Both are carrying the same bricks. But one sees a task, while the other sees a mission. The work hasn't changed, but the meaning has. And meaning changes everything. Many of us believe motivation is something we need to find every morning. We watch videos, read quotes, and wait for inspiration to strike. But motivation is temporary. It comes and goes with our emotions. Purpose is different. Purpose stays with you even when motivation disappears. There will be days when you don't feel like studying. There will be mornings when you don't want to wake up early. There will be moments when your business struggles, your grades fall, or your confidence disappears. If your reason for continuing is based only on feelings, you will stop. But if your reason is connected to something bigger than yourself, you will continue even when it's difficult. That's why successful people don't rely on motivation alone. They rely on meaning. Their purpose becomes the fuel that keeps them moving when the excitement fades. Take a moment and ask yourself a simple question. Why do I want to succeed? Is it only to earn more money? Money is important, but it is not enough to carry you through life's toughest moments. Is it to become famous? Recognition feels good, but it doesn't last forever. Or is it because you want to create a better future for your family, make your parents proud, solve problems, help your community, or leave the world better than you found it? Those reasons have the power to keep you going long after temporary rewards lose their appeal. Purpose also gives direction. Imagine getting into a car and driving without knowing where you're going. You might be moving, but you're not making progress. Many people live this way. They stay busy every day, but they don't know where all that effort is leading. They confuse activity with achievement. Being busy is not the same as moving forward. Purpose acts like a compass. It helps you decide what deserves your time, your energy, and your attention. When you know your purpose, making decisions becomes easier. You stop saying yes to everything because you understand that every yes to the wrong thing is a no to what truly matters. You become more focused, more disciplined, and more intentional. Your calendar begins to reflect your values instead of your distractions. Purpose doesn't have to be something grand or world famous. Not everyone is meant to stand on a big stage or build a billion-dollar company. Sometimes purpose is as simple as becoming the first person in your family to graduate from college. Sometimes it is raising kind children, serving your community, teaching others, creating art, or solving everyday problems with excellence. A meaningful purpose is not measured by its size, but by its significance to you and the people you impact. Another important truth is that your purpose can evolve. The reason that inspires you today may grow as you gain experience. That is perfectly normal. Life changes us, and our purpose often becomes clearer through the challenges we face. You don't need to have every answer today. You simply need to keep asking the right questions and stay open to learning. Every great achievement in history began with someone who believed in a reason greater than themselves. They didn't start because they knew every step of the journey. They started because they believed their purpose was worth pursuing. Their why gave them the courage to take the first step, even when the path was uncertain. So before you chase success, chase clarity. Before you ask what you want to accomplish, ask who you want to serve and why it matters. When your purpose is clear, your actions gain direction, your challenges gain meaning, your sacrifices become worthwhile, and every step you take brings you closer not just to success, but to becoming the person you were meant to be. Have you ever wondered why the things we want most in life always seem to be on the other side of fear? Whether it's starting a business, speaking in front of an audience, applying for your dream job, or simply believing in yourself, the path almost always begins with discomfort. That's because growth has a price, and that price is leaving the place where everything feels safe. As human beings, we naturally seek comfort. Our brains are designed to protect us from danger, uncertainty, and failure. We like routines because they are predictable. We enjoy familiar environments because they require little effort. There is nothing wrong with feeling comfortable. Comfort allows us to rest, recover, and recharge. But the problem begins when comfort becomes our permanent address instead of a temporary stop. Imagine a seed buried in the ground. From the outside, it appears safe. It is protected by the soil, hidden from the wind, and untouched by the storms above. But if that seed chooses to remain exactly where it is, it will never become a tree. It must first break apart. It must push through the darkness of the soil before it can reach the light. Growth requires struggle. Without that struggle, there is no transformation. Our lives work in much the same way. Every meaningful achievement begins with a moment that feels uncomfortable. The first day at a new school is uncomfortable. The first day at a new job is uncomfortable. The first time you stand on a stage is uncomfortable. The first time you launch a business or lead a team is uncomfortable. But those moments are not signs that you are incapable. They are signs that you are expanding. Too often, we mistake fear for a warning to stop. In reality, fear is often a sign that we are about to do something important. Think about the greatest moments of your life. Chances are they were preceded by uncertainty. You were nervous before an exam. You were anxious before an interview. You doubted yourself before making a big decision. Yet those experiences helped shape the person you are today. The challenge is that comfort whispers a very convincing message. It tells us, wait until you feel ready. But here's the truth. Very few people ever feel completely ready. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes because of action. Every time you take a small step into the unknown, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your fears, and with each step, your confidence grows. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. No one begins as an expert. You wobble, you lose balance, and sometimes you fall. If falling meant you were incapable of riding, then no one would ever learn. The falls are not failures. They are part of the learning process. Eventually, what once felt impossible becomes natural. The same is true for every skill, every dream, and every ambition. Many people spend years waiting for the perfect moment. They wait until they have more money, more experience, more knowledge, or more confidence. But perfection is an illusion. The perfect moment rarely arrives. The people who make a difference are not those who had perfect conditions. They are the ones who decided to begin despite imperfect conditions. Consider athletes preparing for a championship. They don't become stronger by lifting weights that are easy. Muscles grow only when they are challenged beyond their current capacity. The same principle applies to our minds, our character, and our leadership. We become stronger by carrying responsibilities that seem slightly heavier than what we think we can handle. We become wiser by solving problems we have never faced before. We become resilient by overcoming obstacles we once believed were impossible. Every challenge you face is preparing you for a future version of yourself. The difficult conversation teaches courage. The failed attempt teaches resilience. The unexpected setback teaches patience. None of these lessons can be learned from a place of complete comfort. This doesn't mean you should seek unnecessary hardship. It means you should stop running from the discomfort that naturally accompanies growth. There is a difference between pain that harms you and discomfort that develops you. The discomfort of learning a new skill, waking up early to exercise, speaking in public, or taking responsibility for your goals may feel difficult today, but it is building a stronger version of you tomorrow. Ask yourself this question. What would you attempt if fear didn't control your decisions? Would you start that business? Apply for that opportunity? Learn a new language? Write a book? Stand on a stage? The answer to that question often reveals the direction in which you need to grow. Remember, every successful person you admire has stood where you stand today. They have doubted themselves. They have experienced fear. They have faced rejection. The difference is not that they were fearless. The difference is that they refused to let fear make their decisions. Your comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing extraordinary is created there. Every dream, every achievement, every breakthrough begins the moment you choose courage over convenience. The goal is not to eliminate fear from your life. The goal is to make your purpose bigger than your fear. Because on the other side of uncertainty lies confidence. On the other side of challenge lies growth. And on the other side of your comfort zone is the person you are truly capable of becoming. If I asked you what determines your future, many of you might say talent, intelligence, education, or luck. Those things certainly matter, but they are not the deciding factor. The truth is, your future is shaped less by the big decisions you make once in a while and more by the small decisions you make every single day. The life you dream of is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built through consistent habits. We often wait for a burst of motivation before taking action. We tell ourselves, I'll start exercising when I feel motivated. I'll study harder when I'm in the mood. I'll work on my dream when I have more time. But motivation is unreliable. Some days it shows up, and many days it doesn't. If your success depends on how you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent. Habits, on the other hand, don't ask how you feel. They simply become part of who you are. Imagine brushing your teeth every morning. You probably don't wake up excited to do it. You don't wait until you feel inspired. You do it because it has become a habit. It's automatic. Now imagine if learning, reading, exercising, or practicing your craft became just as automatic. Think about how much your life would change after 1 year. The small things we do repeatedly have an extraordinary impact on our future. Reading 10 pages of a good book each day may not seem like much, but after 1 year, you've read thousands of pages and gained knowledge that many people never will. Saving a small amount of money every week may not seem impressive, but over time it creates financial security. Practicing a skill for just 30 minutes every day may appear insignificant, but after months and years, that practice turns into mastery. This is the power of consistency. Many people underestimate small actions because they cannot immediately see the results. We live in a world that celebrates overnight success, but what we often call overnight success is actually the result of years of invisible discipline. We see the athlete holding a trophy, but we don't see the thousands of early mornings spent training. We admire the successful entrepreneur, but we don't see the countless late nights, failed ideas, and persistent efforts that came before the breakthrough. Success is never built in a single day. It is built daily. Think about a stone being shaped by drops of water. 1 drop changes nothing. 100 drops seem insignificant, but millions of drops, falling consistently over time, can carve through solid rock. That's what your daily habits do. Each action may seem too small to matter, but together they shape your character, your skills, and ultimately your destiny. Unfortunately, the opposite is also true. Just as good habits build success, bad habits quietly build failure. Skipping 1 workout doesn't ruin your health. Missing 1 study session doesn't destroy your education. Wasting 1 hour scrolling through social media doesn't seem harmful, but repeated over weeks, months, and years, those small choices create a life very different from the one you imagined. Our habits are like tiny votes for the kind of person we want to become. Every time you choose to read instead of wasting time, you cast a vote for becoming a lifelong learner. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you cast a vote for becoming a disciplined person. Every time you choose kindness, honesty, or perseverance, you strengthen those qualities within yourself. You are constantly becoming the person your habits are training you to be. This is why discipline is so valuable. Many people misunderstand discipline. They think it means punishment or restriction. But discipline is actually a form of freedom. It gives you the freedom to live the life you truly want instead of becoming controlled by temporary emotions or distractions. Discipline means choosing what matters most over what feels easiest in the moment. Imagine planting a tree. You water it today, but nothing changes. You water it tomorrow, and still nothing changes. Weeks go by, and it still looks small. You might be tempted to stop because your effort doesn't seem to be making a difference. But beneath the surface, the roots are growing stronger. One day, the growth becomes visible. The same thing happens in life. Your daily efforts may not produce immediate results, but they are strengthening the foundation of your future. The key is not to focus on being perfect. Perfection is impossible, and chasing it often leads to frustration. Instead, focus on being consistent. If you miss one day, don't miss two. If you make a mistake, don't quit. Success doesn't belong to people who never fail. It belongs to people who refuse to stop. Ask yourself a simple question. What habits am I practicing every day? Are they moving me closer to the person I want to become, or are they taking me further away? Because every habit is leading somewhere. Every repeated action is shaping your future, whether you realize it or not. Remember, your life is not changed by one extraordinary decision. It is transformed by ordinary decisions made consistently over time. Greatness is not found in occasional moments of brilliance, but in the quiet discipline of doing the right things day after day, even when no one is watching. Build habits that reflect your goals, protect them with discipline, and trust the process. One day, you will look back and realize that the small choices you once thought didn't matter became the foundation of the extraordinary life you created. One of the greatest fears people carry is the fear of failure. It stops dreams before they begin. It keeps talented people silent, creative people hidden, and capable people stuck exactly where they are. We often see failure as something to avoid at all costs, as if making a mistake means we are not good enough. But what if we have been looking at failure the wrong way? What if failure is not the opposite of success, but an essential part of the journey toward it? From the time we are children, we are taught that mistakes are something to be embarrassed about. We worry about getting the wrong answer in class. We fear disappointing our parents, our teachers, or ourselves. As we grow older, that fear becomes even stronger. We hesitate to apply for opportunities because we might get rejected. We avoid starting businesses because they might fail. We stay in jobs we don't enjoy because they feel safer than chasing our dreams. Slowly, our fear of failure becomes stronger than our desire to grow. But consider this. Every person you admire has failed. Every inventor, athlete, entrepreneur, artist, and leader has experienced moments when things did not go according to plan. Their lives were not a straight line from struggle to success. They faced rejection, disappointment, criticism, and setbacks. The difference is not that they avoided failure. The difference is that they refused to let failure define them. Imagine a child learning to walk. The child falls over and over again. If that child believed falling meant they were not meant to walk, they would never take another step. Yet no parent looks at a toddler falling and says, "Maybe walking isn't for you." Instead, they smile, encourage them, and celebrate every attempt. Why? Because we understand that falling is part of learning. Somewhere along the way, however, we forget this lesson. As adults, we begin to believe that every mistake is proof that we are incapable, when in reality it is proof that we are learning. Failure is feedback. It tells you what worked, what didn't, and what needs to change. It is information, not an identity. When a scientist conducts an experiment that doesn't produce the expected result, they don't declare themselves a failure. They study the outcome, adjust their approach, and try again. They know that every unsuccessful attempt brings them one step closer to discovering what does work. Life operates the same way. Every setback carries a lesson if we are willing to learn it. The problem is that most people ask the wrong question after they fail. They ask, "Why did this happen to me?" That question often leads to frustration, blame, and self-doubt. A more powerful question is, "What is this experience trying to teach me?" That question transforms failure from an ending into a classroom. Instead of focusing on what you lost, you begin focusing on what you gained. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to grow wiser, stronger, and more resilient. Think about a blacksmith shaping a sword. The metal is heated, hammered, and placed under intense pressure. From the outside, the process looks harsh, but without that heat and pressure, the metal would never become strong enough to fulfill its purpose. In many ways, challenges shape our character in the same way. They reveal strengths we didn't know we had. They teach patience, humility, persistence, and courage, qualities that comfort can never develop. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that successful individuals never fail. What we usually see is the highlight reel, not the behind-the-scenes struggle. We celebrate achievements, but rarely witness the sleepless nights, the rejected ideas, the unsuccessful attempts, and the moments of doubt that came before success. Every accomplishment has a story of perseverance hidden beneath it. Failure also teaches us resilience. Resilience is not the ability to avoid problems, it is the ability to recover from them. Life will never be free from disappointment. There will be moments when your plans fall apart, people let you down, or circumstances change unexpectedly. Those moments do not determine your future. Your response to them does. Every time you stand up after falling, you become mentally stronger. Every time you refuse to quit, you develop confidence that cannot be taken away, because it has been earned through experience. It is also important to remember that failing at something does not mean you are a failure. Your worth as a person is not determined by one exam, one interview, one business decision, or one difficult season of life. Those events describe experiences you have had. They do not define who you are. The moment you separate your identity from your mistakes, you gain the freedom to take risks, learn, and improve without fear. So the next time life doesn't go according to plan, don't rush to label the experience as a defeat. Pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Perhaps the setback is teaching you patience. Perhaps it is preparing you with skills you will need later. Perhaps it is redirecting you toward an opportunity you cannot yet see. Often what feels like failure in the moment becomes the very experience that prepares you for your greatest success. Remember, success is not measured by how many times you avoid falling. It is measured by how many times you choose to rise again. Every setback carries a lesson. Every mistake carries wisdom. Every failure carries the seed of future growth. If you are willing to learn instead of surrender, then failure loses its power to stop you and becomes the very tool that shapes you into the person you were always meant to become. There is a saying that has been repeated for generations. You become like the people you spend the most time with. At first, it may sound like a simple quote, but if you look closely, you will realize it contains one of the most powerful truths about personal growth. None of us grows in isolation. Whether we realize it or not, the people around us influence the way we think, the choices we make, the standards we accept, and the future we create. Imagine placing a single piece of charcoal next to burning coals. It soon becomes hot and begins to glow, but remove it from the fire and eventually it cools down. Human beings are very similar. The environment we live in and the people we surround ourselves with either ignite our potential or slowly extinguish it. Think about your closest friends. What do they usually talk about? Do they discuss ideas, goals, and opportunities? Or do they spend their time complaining, gossiping, and criticizing others? Conversations shape our thinking. If the people around you constantly focus on excuses, negativity, and limitations, it becomes easy to adopt the same mindset. But if you spend time with people who believe in growth, learning, and possibility, you begin to see the world differently. This doesn't mean you should only surround yourself with successful or famous people. Success is not measured by wealth or status alone. The right people are those who inspire you to become a better version of yourself. They challenge you to think bigger, encourage you when you doubt yourself, celebrate your progress without jealousy, and tell you the truth even when it is difficult to hear. One of the greatest gifts you can have is a mentor. A mentor is someone who has already walked a path you hope to travel. They don't remove obstacles from your journey, but they help you avoid unnecessary mistakes. Their wisdom comes from experience, and experience is one of life's greatest teachers. Learning directly from someone who has already faced challenges can save you years of trial and error. At the same time, remember that mentorship is not only about receiving advice. It is about observing character. You learn how they respond to pressure, how they treat people, how they make decisions, and how they handle failure. Those lessons are often more valuable than any instruction they could ever give. Another important truth is that healthy relationships are built on encouragement, not competition. Too often, people compare themselves with others instead of learning from them. Comparison creates insecurity. Inspiration creates growth. When someone around you achieves success, don't see it as evidence that there is less opportunity for you. See it as proof that success is possible. Let their achievement motivate you instead of discouraging you. The people you choose to spend time with also influence your standards. If everyone around you settles for mediocrity, it becomes easy to believe that average effort is enough. But when you are surrounded by people who value discipline, integrity, kindness, and continuous improvement, those qualities naturally become part of your own life. High standards are contagious, just as low standards are. However, surrounding yourself with positive people does not mean avoiding anyone who is struggling. Life is about compassion and supporting one another. The difference lies in attitude. There are people who face difficulties but continue searching for solutions. And there are people who constantly create excuses without taking responsibility. One type of person inspires resilience. The other drains your energy. Choose relationships that encourage growth rather than those that keep you trapped in negativity. It is also important to become the kind of friend you hope to find. We often ask, do I have supportive people around me? But perhaps the better question is, am I a supportive person? Are you encouraging others? Are you celebrating their success? Are you listening without judgment? Are you helping people grow instead of pulling them down? Great relationships are not built by waiting for the right people to appear. They are built by becoming the right person yourself. Your environment extends beyond the people you meet in person. Today, we are influenced by books, podcasts, videos, social media, and the content we consume every day. If your mind is constantly filled with negativity, comparison, and distraction, it becomes difficult to grow. But when you intentionally feed your mind with knowledge, wisdom, and positive ideas, your thinking begins to change. Protect your mind with the same care you protect your body. What you repeatedly consume eventually shapes who you become. History shows us that no great achievement is accomplished entirely alone. Behind every successful leader is a team. Behind every athlete is a coach. Behind every entrepreneur are mentors, partners, and supporters. Even the strongest individuals need people who believe in them, challenge them, and remind them of their purpose during difficult times. So take a moment to reflect on your circle. Ask yourself, who is helping me grow? Who inspires me to dream bigger? Who challenges me to become better? And equally important, whose life am I helping improve? Growth is never just about receiving encouragement. It is also about giving it. The strongest communities are built by people who lift one another higher. Remember, your future is influenced not only by the decisions you make, but also by the company you keep. Choose relationships that inspire courage instead of fear, hope instead of doubt, and action instead of excuses. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your potential, who celebrate your progress, and who encourage you to keep moving forward. Because when the right people walk beside you, even the most difficult journey becomes possible, and together you can achieve far more than you ever could alone. As we come to the final idea, I want to leave you with a thought that has the power to change the way you see your life. Many people believe that becoming the best version of themselves requires one extraordinary moment, a life-changing opportunity, a lucky break, or a dramatic transformation. They wait for the day when everything will suddenly be different. But the truth is, becoming your best self is not an event. It is a daily decision. The person you dream of becoming is not created overnight. They are shaped by the choices you make today, tomorrow, and every day after that. Every action, no matter how small, is either moving you closer to your goals or further away from them. Greatness is not built through occasional acts of excellence. It is built through consistent acts of improvement. Imagine climbing a mountain. If you stand at the bottom and look all the way to the top, the journey can seem impossible. The distance feels overwhelming. You might even convince yourself that you will never make it. But experienced climbers know a simple truth. They don't reach the summit with one giant leap. They reach it by taking one step, then another, and then another. Every step may seem small, but every step matters. Eventually, those small steps carry them to places they once believed were out of reach. Life works in exactly the same way. You don't have to become perfect today. You don't have to learn every skill this week or achieve every dream this year. You simply have to become a little better than you were yesterday. Read one more page. Practice a little longer. Be a little kinder. Listen more carefully. Learn one new lesson. Improve by just 1% every day, and over time, those small improvements create extraordinary results. Many people quit because they don't see immediate progress. They plant a seed and expect a tree the next morning. But nature teaches us that everything meaningful takes time. A seed spends weeks developing roots beneath the surface before anyone can see visible growth. During that time, it may appear as though nothing is happening, but the most important work is taking place where no one can see it. The same is true for your life. There will be seasons when your efforts seem invisible. You study hard, but don't immediately achieve the grades you hoped for. You exercise consistently, but don't notice dramatic changes. You work on your goals, yet success feels distant. In those moments, remember that progress is often happening beneath the surface. Every hour of effort is strengthening your foundation. Every challenge is building resilience. Every lesson is preparing you for opportunities that have not yet arrived. One of the greatest obstacles to personal growth is comparison. We constantly compare our beginning to someone else's middle. We scroll through social media and see other people's achievements, awards, promotions, and celebrations. We begin to wonder why our own progress seems so slow. But comparison steals joy and distracts us from our own journey. The only meaningful comparison is between who you are today and who you were yesterday. Ask yourself, have I learned something new? Have I become more patient, more disciplined, more courageous? Those are the questions that truly measure growth. Success is not always visible on the outside. Sometimes the greatest victories happen within us, long before the world notices them. Another important truth is that perfection is not the goal. Perfection creates fear because it convinces us that every mistake is unacceptable. Progress, however, creates freedom. It reminds us that improvement is a lifelong journey. You don't have to get everything right. You simply have to keep moving forward. Every successful person has made mistakes. Every leader has experienced setbacks. What separates them from others is not perfection, but persistence. Imagine an artist painting a masterpiece. The finished painting is beautiful, but it wasn't created with a single brushstroke. It required countless strokes, corrections, adjustments, and moments of patience. If the artist had judged the painting after the first few strokes, they might have believed it was a failure, yet they trusted the process. In the same way, don't judge your entire life based on one difficult season. Your story is still being written. It is also important to celebrate small victories. Too often, we wait until we achieve a huge goal before allowing ourselves to feel proud. But every step forward deserves recognition. Completing a difficult task, developing a healthy habit, overcoming fear, or staying committed during challenging times are all signs of progress. Those moments remind us that we are moving in the right direction and give us the motivation to continue. At the heart of becoming your best self is a commitment to lifelong learning. The world is constantly changing, and so should we. Stay curious, read books, ask questions, listen to different perspectives. Learn from both success and failure. The moment we believe we know everything is the moment we stop growing. Humility keeps the door open for improvement. Finally, remember that becoming the best version of yourself is not about impressing other people. It is about fulfilling the potential that already exists within you. It is about becoming someone your family can trust, your friends can rely on, your community can respect, and most importantly, someone you can look at in the mirror with pride. The greatest competition in life is not with the people around you. It is with the person you were yesterday. So as you leave here today, don't ask yourself how you can change your entire life in one day. Instead, ask yourself one simple question. Asterisk, what is one small thing I can do today that my future self will thank me for? Repeat it the next day. Over weeks, months, and years, those small choices will transform your character, your confidence, and your future. Because the best version of yourself is not someone you discover, it is someone you build. One decision, one habit, one lesson, and one day at a time. And if you remain committed to growing every single day, there is no limit to what you can become. As I conclude, I want to leave you with one simple thought. Becoming the best version of yourself is not about being perfect. It's about choosing purpose over excuses, courage over comfort, discipline over distraction, learning from failure, surrounding yourself with the right people, and committing to improve every single day. Your future is not decided by your circumstances, but by the choices you make from this moment forward. So when you leave here today, don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Create it. Don't wait for a better version of yourself. Start building it today. Thank you all for your time, your attention, and your kindness. I truly appreciate your presence, and I hope you leave inspired to become the very best version of yourselves. Thank you, and may you all have a wonderful day.